Okay, this is my review of a At PC X210 tablet. This one cost £95 and was bought from Wendy Lou on Amazon. The spec on this is a dual-core processor, 10.1 inch screen, 1 gig of RAM, 16 gig of storage, running Android 4.1 Jelly Bean. The screen resolution is 1024 by 600. We'll take a look at the box first of all. See on here it says sorry, don't recognise you. That's because you can actually set it up to do face recognition to unlock it. You can see here the processor is an RK3066. It says NAT PC here, or NAT PC if you prefer, but by all accounts this is a Kingpad Flytouch 9 10.1 under another name. So inside the box you get this, which you might discard initially, think it's just a sheet of paper, but it's actually a screen protector, so don't throw that away. Get a manual saying Kingpad. Actually says Flytouch 7 there, but as I say, I think it's a Flytouch 9. Two USB leads, charger and earphones. I'll just take the charger out. I've already taken the tablet out, as you might have guessed. I will just make a bit of room. I think it's fair to say that this is probably, at £95, the cheapest 10-inch tablet on the market with this sort of spec. So is it false economy, or should you pay a bit more, or maybe a lot more, and get a branded tablet? Let's see. I think the first thing I found was that you'd want to charge it up, obviously, so when you put the charger in you'll find it doesn't go all the way home. I don't know if you can see that, if my camera can focus, but it's left sticking out, and I'm sure if you forced it all the way in you'd break the charger socket. And if you tend to use the tablet while it's on charge, then that's a potential source of problems. You know, if you knocked it and it got forced in, that's not good. As for the tablet itself, it feels quite nice in the hands. It feels sort of solid and well made. It's quite thin. It's got a white plastic back with a sort of tapered edge. On the back also you've got the volume rocker switch and the on-off switch, and a 2 megapixel camera. Micro SD card slot on the side. On the top edge got your HDMI port, 2 USB ports, reset whole charger socket, and on the side here you've got your earphone socket. Let's turn it on. Now I didn't notice this the first time I turned it on, but it sticks out a mile now that the clock is being chopped off for some reason. It's fine that way around. It's only a sort of minor niggle, but it's something you see every time you turn it on, and it's just slightly irritating. Now I don't know if you noticed that then, but the screen sort of flickered and that is one of the issues with this particular tablet. I'm pretty sure it is basically a faulty tablet, so bear that in mind for the rest of this review. But the display is pretty good, I would say. It's not the highest resolution you can get, and the text on the icons are slightly pixely, but for sort of general use I would say it's perfectly adequate. Angle of view is not too bad sideways. That direction is okay, but that way doesn't look too bad on the camera, but it does certainly drop off when you tilt it away from you, which, when if you're using it sitting here with it on your lap, you might actually find it's better to turn it upside down, because I think the angle that way is better. It's probably worth mentioning at this point that when you first get the tablet, the home screens are sort of empty and there's no Chinese apps or any other bloatware on there, and you just get your apps by dragging them to wherever you want. So first of all, let's probably have a look at some photos. These are a few that I copied across from my Momo 8 tablet. Personally, I'm quite impressed with the photos, the way they're displayed. It's all quite responsive. Colours are good. The resolution isn't really a problem on sort of photos and graphics, I find. And we can have a look at a sample video that's supplied.
Let's get started. Has trained 5 of the greatest warriors the world has ever known. But this master's biggest challenge has just arrived. I'm coming! Cheers.
That's perfectly fine, no problems watching that at all. Now, you get the Play Store provided, but I mean, this is a present for my wife, and there's a few apps that she's got on her phone that she would have wanted to have put on here, but for some reason they're not available through Google Play. I can only assume that's because they're incompatible with this particular tablet. For example, if we look for Quidco, the Quidco app doesn't come up. And there's a few other apps that we've found, such as TripAdvisor and the First Direct Banking app, that aren't on the Play Store either. So, I mean, all those you can access through the website anyway, so it's no great problem, but it's just worth noting that you can't take it for granted that apps that you've got currently on your phone you're going to be able to put on the tablet. Have a look at the browser. Oh, the good old BBC. And it's probably browsing where I suppose you notice the screen resolution isn't as high as it could be on the text. I mean, it's perfectly readable, but maybe you wouldn't want to spend all day reading text on it or using it as a Kindle reader. But certainly browsing, general browsing is good. It's all fast and responsive.
We can now speak to a friend of Bannister, Lord Tim Bell, who's on the phone for us now. Good evening to you. Thanks very much indeed for being with us. Could you just explain...
Okay, I've installed TV Catch Up, which works well.
In fact, and look at it now, you know, packed houses.
How do you keep it fresh? I mean, one of the acts I've seen this year that has really amazed me is Jean-Francois Pignon, who seems to control wild horses with no bridle, no saddle. He just does it through instinct.
He's an amazing man.
That's all good. I'll just mention the two cameras. You've got a front and rear facing camera. Again, the rear facing camera is a 2 megapixel camera, and I've done a test video with it, and to be honest it's pretty poor. You know, the photos not too bad, but you know, if you want to take decent photos you'd buy a camera. We've tried Skype. Skype works very well, no problems. The other thing to mention probably is Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi range, I would say, is poor. I'm in a sort of fairly small house and I'll get a reception in all rooms in the house, but any greater distance I think you'd lose the signal. But apparently there is an upgrade, a firmware upgrade, which greatly increases the Wi-Fi range. I've not applied it because I think this will probably be going back under warranty, and I don't want to sort of mess with it to risk voiding the warranty. We've had the tablet a few days now, and the issues that we have experienced have all been down to the display, really. We've noticed just the occasional sort of glitch where maybe a bit of coloured text on a website is sort of trying to decide what colour it wants to be, and it sort of flickers between colours. Sometimes that happens on web graphics as well. It's not sort of repeatable, and it is sort of fairly intermittent. But we have found one repeatable problem, which does cause a bit of concern, and that's to do with Kindle. If we load a book, I think you can probably see straight away the screen is sort of getting corrupted. Sometimes it disappears. I think strangely the size of the text might have something to do with it. And now it's not doing it. And now it does. This is something we've reported to Wendy Lou, and they're going to get back to us on it. We have found a workaround, which is to change the background colour from white to sepia. You can see the whole thing is sort of flickering and shimmering. Change it to sepia and it's all fine. Change it back to white and it's corrupted again. And I think even the bookmark, I think that should be a blue colour. So that's the problem we have with it. I've heard from other people and they have no trouble at all with Kindle, so I think it's safe to assume that this is a faulty tablet and that this shouldn't be regarded as typical of what you would expect to receive. So I think that's about it. In summary, apart from some minor niggles, I think it's really good value for money. Just general use, watching videos, looking at photos, web browsing, it's perfectly fine. So, good value for money, I would say. So if you've bought this tablet, then please leave your comments and let us know what you think. Thanks.